Good afternoon. This is the Civil Savage 76, otherwise known as Rex Knickerbocker. It's been some time since I've last reported. Lots of ongoing things in Eastern Europe regarding Ukraine and Russia. I've also had other news of what might be coming for the baboon presidency. Lots of new developments as to Hunter's 3 laptops. But let's get back to the Eastern Bloc states, because I'd like to address something. And these are to all the people that seem to don't grasp what I've been trying to assert, which is that Russia is addressing an oligarch compromised Ukrainian government that is murdering its own civilians as a result of fleeing and getting out of Ukraine because they themselves, Russian-speaking ethnic minority natives of places such as the Donbass region, do not wish to live under the dominion of Zelensky or any of his Rothschild-backed oligarch puppets who are at the center of child sex trafficking, biolabs that were funded by the United States and Fauci, not to mention all the gun trafficking and drug trafficking that's also going on in the Ukraine. I see Ukraine flags everywhere driving around while I work. It's disgusting. Some of them even have European Union flags right off the Ukraine flag. Well, why would it have a European Union flag? I'll tell you why. Because the person living in that home is a fucking shill who has no idea what the European Union actually does and what they're really up to and who they're really funded by and what their actual interests represent in terms of the everyday citizen. So it's just all been rather disenchanting for me to continue, especially when you have a bunch of fuck-witted trolls trying to comment saying that all these different things about how that's not true, this is not true. You can go and do your due diligence yourself, because I'm not your fucking library. And Google isn't going to help you either. You want to keep up with the shit, assuming that I'm just some conspiracy theory, whatever you want to call it. The results are all there for you to see. The exact retarded shit that you voted in, and you are now bearing the brunt of. And it starts at the gas pump, does it? But it goes way beyond a gas pump. You know? How about a Biden laptop data dump? Hey, that rhymed. Any whoozy daisy. Getting back to what I was saying, my absence has been a result of not really knowing what else to say or how to address the successful subversion that has gone on in the country. 72% of people have been biting the false mainstream narrative, hook, line, and sinker. They support the new thing at every drop of a hat. Nothing's really changing. Nothing about me's really changed. I still believe in the plan. I still believe that there's a future for sovereignty and populism in America, but right now we're seeing not right versus left. We're not seeing Republican versus Democrat. We're seeing literally good versus evil. We're seeing who's doggishly supporting the Rothschild-backed oligarchy that is the Ukrainian government, that is responsible for an ethnic cleansing of its own people right now, its own separatists. And yet people still want to support the Ukraine. Child sex trafficking, adrenochrome harvesting labs, gain-of-function virus labs, all in the Ukraine, and suddenly Putin's getting gaslighted, hated on, called a dog, this, that, and the other. Well, in this specific context, in regards to the Ukraine, regardless of who Putin might be, outside of the realm of this context, I heavily agree with Putin taking on the Ukrainian military establishment, namely the Azov brigades, who are killing women and children who are attempting to flee Mariupol for their lives because they are separatists. They want to be a part of the Russian Federation. These are people who actually agreed with the Minsk agreements, which meant that any country that wanted to acknowledge itself as its own separatist region, Putin actually honored that, much to their happiness. The people in eastern Ukraine who have been acknowledged as their own separatist republic region independent of Ukraine were celebrating and partying as a result. Yet you still doggishly advocate for their death because you think that they're violent extremists, when in reality the Azov Brigade has the same insignia on it as the Nazis did back in World War II that represented their dominion over the Black Sea. Oh, but what do I know? The Azov Brigade are all open anti-Semites. They're all openly racist towards people who do not represent them, and they're just slaughtering them in the name of supposed Ukrainian nationalism, when it's not Ukrainian nationalism at all. It's neo-Nazism being branded in the modern day and age. Trying to maintain my composure here as much as possible. That has been no easy feat as of late. I'm just going to continue, I guess, living my life. I'm one person, can't really do much. Other than try to still put this out there, hoping that people are just going to listen instead of trolling and talking with your hot-headed ignorance as a result of the fallacies that you've adopted as a result of your neurological programming that the mainstream media, social media, and your education is responsible for. It's not up to me to de-educate you from your programming. And to actually educate you. That's up to you. You can continue. Maybe it makes you a lot of money. Maybe you're a shill because it makes you a lot of money. It makes you your six figures, whatever it may be. But if you feel that there might be something awry in this country, and you don't know what to believe one way or another, well, I'm here to try to provide you the unabridged story, the real truth, not the pretty little lies that you continuously hear hopelessly peddled out of the shit-lipped schleppers of pestilence and degradation towards a once great nation. So it is up to you to do your due diligence. It's not up to me to do your homework for you. You must do your homework. You also have to think outside of the box as to the platforms that you elect to go on, because if you don't, Google's going to dictate all your search outcomes. You're only going to hear about dog shit headlines because they're good looking and pretty all over social media, Instagram. You're never going to see any of the real stories. And I promise you, this will come out one way or another. This information. You got Fox News that I don't really even respect. They're starting to all of a sudden cover the Biden laptop. The New York Times all of a sudden starting to confirm the existence of the Biden laptop after we had, 2 years of the same idiots denying its existence. Why? Because they were shilling. Who owns all the media companies? Well, inevitably it's the Rothschilds. That or the Rockefellers. So as you go forward, consider whether you want to support the Ukraine and the pedophile Satanists who run it and have financially backed an ethnic cleansing and a full-on genocide. And then at the same time, you got the media propping the Ukraine up so that you can basically worship the killing of women and children. Well, Russia actually, in this specific context, is killing all the child sex traffickers like Putin vowed to, taking down the biolabs, taking out all the virus research facilities that were viruses that were being used to be able to attack specific groups of people. Now you can think back to the Tuskegee experiments, the killing of African American citizens by robbing them of their informed consent as to what was in that vaccination. Now the same thing is going on in Ukraine. They're testing these viruses on the people of Donbass, using them as guinea pigs. That's not to mention the cluster bombing of school children. Might I remind you, you might want to go and look into the Alley of Angels I believe that was in the Luhansk region. Every single name on that memorial was a child who was murdered by the NATO-backed Ukrainian military in an illegal cluster bombing. This was, of course, after NATO promised that they would not progress towards the east. Need I remind you of Kosovo and Yugoslavia that got blown off the map for not wanting to play into the international system? So you tell me what's going on beyond a CNN or Fox headline, or whatever that shill Don Lemon wants to fucking parrot next. Because it's not going to be up to me in the end what is right and wrong and what is truth and what is not. I'm just hoping to at least be the intermediary by which to lead you in the right direction. Because right now, I don't think we even need to worry about a zombie apocalypse, because right now we have a dumbass apocalypse. We have a common sense apocalypse. Non-existent. Like, I go out into this world and do my job. I have very little trust in my surroundings. Because everyone's either a dangerous idiot, a useful idiot, or uninformed moron who's going to be responsible for the death of my rights and ultimately me and my freedom, because they don't want to look into something in a way that would make them uncomfortable in the end. Because the truth hurts. The truth is brutal. And that's why they create these jobs, so that people can go shill for multinational corporations that fund things like the anti-gun lobby and Planned Parenthood and all this other evil, disgusting shit that you see in the world. All the depopulative strategies that are being propagated by the big corporations. You know, the ones that pay people their six-figure salaries. Oh, I'm penetrating the system, bro. Oh, I'm just working here for a while, bro. I'm not one of these people. Yeah, sure. You'll be in the soup by tomorrow. Nice pension will actually allow me to wager that. I bet my bottom dollar. It's why I love having a trade. I would never want to be one of these people. No amount of money would ever entice me to fucking go and work for George Soros or the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers in one way or another, because they own everything that you interact with on a daily basis. And that truth in and of itself should be enough alone to prove that what is going on in Europe in general is a result of the European Union's bullshit, George Soros's bullshit, all those disgusting oligarchs that people seem to worship. Bill Gates is involved in that too. So next time you want to tell me who my heroes ought to be, well, next time you should go fucking read a book. You know, I've heard people that shill for the issues on the behalf of Ukraine and these pro-vaccinated people. I've heard one person say they should write a book. I told them they should open a book before they could ever think to write one. So next time you want to talk about you knowing anything about Ukraine, well, you put up your stupid little fucking flag on your Facebook account. Think about all the women and children who are being killed by military units backed by NATO that is funded by a bunch of pedophile oligarchs who are bent on depopulation strategies, namely Klaus Schwab and his Great Reset. He even wrote a book about it. COVID-19 and the Great Reset. Go look that up and read that book before you may develop the inclination to develop a hatred for my perceptions. I deeply implore you to go look that book up. Tell me if I'm making any of this up. That's all I have for you right now. I hope everybody's enjoyed this small production. And this was the Civil Savage 76, otherwise known as Rex Knickerbocker. You have a wonderful evening.